Hi guys, and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're gonna be carrying on our series. And if you guys remember what we did in the last episode is that we added this empty window, which right now doesn't do anything, but what we're gonna be doing here today is adding the items. So when you actually talk with this NPC, which at the moment doesn't do anything, we need to make sure we display the quest NPC right there. Alright, so without wasting too much time, let's get this thing done. So first thing I need here is I'm going to go to my Windows, and I am going to open up here the window quest 2, right? That is perfect. Now the other thing I would like to do is just going back to here, right? Quest giver. And in here, we do have an option that I think we have the title. So I can just put ASD and we display the title or a clean title. I'm not sure what does it do, but anyway, what I can actually do now is that I'm just gonna rename this to the quest giver, whatever, doesn't matter. Now, just to make things simpler, on the BPC thing here, on the character manager, right? On the character manager, no. On the BPC inventory here, right? We have this when we open the quest on the client. So if I do a print here, I can get information of my NPC. If you guys remember, we did this. Look, perfect. Now we need to get the NPC name, and all we're gonna do is just browse to asset, open up here, and we're just gonna add here the NPC name. All right. The name could be actually be done as part of the quests, but we can just leave it here. You know, we can always assign random names as well. You know, you just create an array of random names, and then it can actually do it for you. Does not need to be replicated, and this is just gonna be John the Farmer, some simple name like that. Perfect. Now on the BPC, get the name, and now we have here our main inventory widget, which is not the quest giver UI. I think we don't have any references for this. Yeah, we don't have anything. We can delete that. It's gonna get this. Now on the main widget Windows, which is added here, there, we can go back and we can call this WPC quest giver, right? And we go back to inventory and we just get that name. Perfect. Now in here we can get the quest something, quest giver, whatever. And all we gotta do here is that we just need to set the title, or API set, no, title or something. Set title. Do we have anything? How is that being called? Let me have a look on the base inventory, because on the quest giver, edit the widget. We do have the title, so let me edit the main here. And let's check where do we set the title. We don't have this, but what I can do is create a custom event called API set title. All right, title, because we kind of need to make it dynamically anyway. And now in theory, I am just gonna make sure that we get the title, right? And we also have, for some reason, the clean title. I can't remember what it does, but let's just pass it as well. All right. Now this will just run, and we'll do actually, what we can do here is just that, right? So it does this. Perfect. And to make things consistent, it's gonna do that API set title, and we can copy and paste those here, so everything just go back the way it was before. All right, this is one of the issues when we start to be very clever with the code. You know, like instead of just getting the text and changing right away, we have to do all this inception thing, which is a little bit annoying, but We get that. Now we got the title. We can put the title here. And now when I press play, John the Farmer should give us a quest. Look at that. John the Farmer. Perfect. So now we can actually add the names here. And doesn't matter. So we can do whatever. Now the next thing we have to do is the ability to actually add the items. So we need to do the design. So let's go back here to our quest giver, the main window, which is the style version 2. Yeah, which is that one here, because this is going to be a wide window. All right. So we have a base window which has a layout, a common layout. And then we have a base window which has a bigger layout. So in this way, we don't have to rebuild this all the time. We just inject what we want in the places we need, and we keep the UI consistent. Right, so let's go back here to the Inkscape, and let's check what do we have here. So if I zoom out, we have here the base of our windows. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to select this. I'm going to group this stuff. As you can see here, I did some dodgy things here because I added just a window to block and cover, but in-game it doesn't matter, right? So I'm just going to group everything. Now everything's grouped. I'm going to save this. And by the way, if you don't have Inkscape or you don't need to follow this, it's just, again, showing up how I like to do this. Now I have the windows, so I'm going to select PNG here. T main windows, blah blah blah, v2 dash v2. V2 is because it's the new version. Actually, the DPI is too low. Let's put 300. The reason why I like to put a very high DPE, it's because it doesn't lose quality when you scale to Unreal Engine. Yes, replace. Thank you very much. Let's go back to Unreal. Let's check where is this background. So it's this one here, and let's go back to the background here, Windows V2, whatever. Let me open up the component. So I'm doing the other screen, so just gonna move it here so you guys can see what am I doing. Now let me open up this, and we have a nice window, which is really cool. You know, it's not perfect. It has this stuff on the corner, but it looks quite cool actually. But anyway, let's just drag and drop this right here. Perfect. And by the way, guys, I'm using AI to build this UI for me. So, you know, just go ChatGPT and I give like a prompt more or less how I want. And then I use a technique to vectorize, and then I use an Inkscape, and then I clean up. As you can see, it's not perfect on the corners, but it doesn't matter that much because usually players don't look on that, you know. And it gives a little bit of a nice vibe to the game as well, you know. But anyway, let's just bring here the main window. Perfect. Now we need to check how's the design. So the design has the thing right on the middle of that, which is perfect. So I can just go back to that and maybe do 800. Is that a decent size? I must say it's not the worst size. How much is here? Let's see what's the original. The original is 700, but maybe. Can we keep I mean, let's just try. Let's try maybe 1000. Sorry, 1000C. Maybe 850 by. Yeah, I think that looks good. Doesn't look too bad. It's gonna hide the title for now. Doesn't look too bad. What I can do here for the title as well. Can I change the size box? No, because it's inside a vertical. But what I can do is I come here and I can just push, let's say, the bottom, let's say 10. The bottom, no, sorry. The right. 10, 20, 25. Okay, 25 is good. Top, let's say 10, just so it centers a little bit. And here, let's just add a title called, let's say, you know, the Farmer Quest. Something very simple. I don't have an issue with that, so I think it looks great. Let's just press plain C. That doesn't look too bad. Now we just need to make sure the size is correct. To do that, go back to the quest giver, and I think on the base inventory. Yes, we just need to change the size. I think we have size to content, but let's just put 800. I think it was 850 by 600. Is that right? Is that how we're doing this? Size to content. No. I think that's good. Now we just need to change maybe this. Yes, 800 by 700 by, how much was it? By 600. So 850 by 600. So 850 by 600. There's actually a way that we can make it to force to always get on the size on the parent, so then it replicates here. We don't have to do all this stuff. But I'll probably have to look into that to make sure we do properly, because I don't want to do something that will, you know, we're going to spend some time fixing that. But anyway, now we have that. That's perfect. So let's talk with John the farmer to see what happens. So if I talk with him, it doesn't look too bad. Looks cool. You know, it's not 100% centered. This is because of that. So let's just go back here and fix this, because that doesn't look great. So on the padding here on the title, so if I click on it, on the quest giver, where is the, here on the size box, right? So the bottom is, so the right is 25, so the left also has to be 25, so it gets a little bit less janky. And to be honest, it looks quite cool. It doesn't look too bad. It's not 100% center. So what I think what I can do, guys, is, because I'm not very happy with how that thing is looking, but also I don't want to rebuild this component from scratch. So left 0, right 0. All right, let's just leave it for now like that. Okay, and then later on we can hide this. Or what we can do here is that I think we have that option now, which is called clean title, no? I think I know what does the clean title do. So let's go back here and make sure the clean title is true. Compile and save that. So we go back here, what happened? Well, it doesn't look like it's doing much. Let's just inspect the element. Let's check what's doing. So the clean title, what is the clean title doing? So pre-construct and the clean title. Okay, so is hiding the background, which we don't have anyway. So I'm just gonna create here a custom event called API disable. What can we disable here? Ornaments. Well, let's leave it like that. Let's not waste too much time on this. Let's just focus on the content. I just wanted to remove that and the button, but it's gonna take some time. Anyway, now that we have this, we can start to actually display the column on the right, and we'll reflect also the column on the left. So as you can see here, we have a divider, and we can just actually export this as well. We can export that actually as part of the background. Let's have a look. So what I can do here is we can actually maybe put the divider here, but I would be happy maybe to leave it without, so we just do it on the main border. Let me show what I mean. So right now we have the buttons, and then the buttons have this. So I can use this box here to, let's say, give this effect. So I'm just gonna hold control like that, and then I'm gonna hold control, no, sorry, and I'm gonna do something like that. You see? So it doesn't look too bad. It looks quite cool. Let's export that. So it's gonna go back here to this components. I'm gonna create a new library here, a new folder called quest, and open up the quest PNG, and I'm gonna call this main quest background or something. And remember to always add a T dash just in case you're building this. So this has a good API, perfect. 300 is the sweet spot for that. Now I'm gonna go back to quests, and I'm just gonna open up here. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, it looks okay. Doesn't look too bad. go back to my Unreal Engine, and in there I am just gonna basically drop this here. All right. Now remember, we do want to keep this window very fairly, let's say, dynamic. So I do want to reuse the same thing for all the things like vendor, shop, chest, whatever, right? So I don't want to make updates on the parent one, right? Which is the quest giver, right? Sorry, not the quest giver, but the main layout one. So what I'm going to do here is that on the vertical box is where we have the size and the content. So on the content, which is empty, I am gonna add a vertical box, okay? Vertical box, a horizontal box, perfect. And now I have the horizontal box. So I'm just gonna call box, it's fine, just leave as box for now. And what I can do is, for testing, okay, I'm gonna add a border. And I think on that you can have 2, right? So I'm just gonna add 2 borders. And I wanna make sure they are right in the middle, right? So I'm just gonna go back here. I'm gonna make sure that everything it's aligned that properly, which is perfect. And now I am gonna do something like align here and expand fill, I guess. Expand, no. Fill horizontally. This one as well, I'm gonna do fill. So they're right in the middle. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace this with a vertical box, or we can just leave as border for now. Yeah, we can just leave as border. What I can do here is just call the left panel and make sure that's a variable. And here we can just call right panel, and then make sure that is also a variable. All right. Now I don't want them to touch this part, so I'm just gonna go back here and add a padding of, let's say, on the left 5, 10, 12. 12 is good, and on the right I am assuming that's 12. But when we build stuff with AI, we're never sure if they actually keep the consistent, but that one in that case looks good. Now on the bottom as well, on the bottom we can maybe add like 10 or 20, or let's say maybe more, 25, or okay, 50. That looks okay. Doesn't look too bad. So we have some space here, everything's in the middle properly. Now if I press play and see, let's see. It doesn't look too bad. It looks okay. Now we have a right panel and a left panel. You can't see it, but it's there. All right. Now I'm just gonna go here to the border. Opacity is the tint 0, and also here the tint is going to be 0. All right. Compile and save perfectly. Let's go back to the quest giver. Now let's create here this panel, right? So let's just go here and create a new blueprint. Oh, not the widget preview, sorry. You want to create here this one. WBP available quests, and we can just you know, just leave it like that. Let me just open up here. Right, so now what we got to do here is that we need to make sure, I was just checking, I misspelled available, always available quest. Just gonna put, there's a space here, available quests. There you go. So available quests, now it's gonna have a border, right? A border. So we're just gonna search for a border, and we're gonna add here. Perfect. Now I am gonna go back here and check. I'm just gonna check here where do we add it? Here. You know, we have this feature in Unreal which I really love, which is add to favorites, but I always forget how to use this. But anyway, let's go back to that. And on the quest stuff, we're just gonna select the main quest. The main quest, which one? How do we call this again? Let me just double check. Downloads, components, quests. t dash main blah blah blah. So t dash, okay, that's fine. Perfect. Now I'm gonna open up here, compile and save, and now we can kind of mess around with the size of this. So desired, or in this case fit on screen, or no, custom screen, right? So we can do something like, let's say, I'm not sure how this is gonna look yet. So maybe we can do like 300, or it's too much, 200 by, let's say 800. 800 is too much. Let's do 500, 600, 400. Can even make it a little bit short, I guess. This is too much. It does have like some space here. I'm not sure what's going on right there. But anyway, so let's do 200 by 400, and then we see what happened. Or maybe 300. Okay, perfect. Now I'm gonna wrap this with a size box, okay? And then on the size box, I'm gonna tell which size I want, which is 200 by 300. The reason why I'm adding a size box is because now, if I go to this to test, right? Imagine that we're adding this widget right here, right? We're adding a border within a border, but that's fine. Now it has the right size. And if I check here size to content, for example, it has here the decent size. Now I am thinking that this is going to be a border within a border, but we can always, improve this widget. So let's not focus too much on that. Let's just go back here and then the main logic. Now I have this, perfect. Now I'm gonna add a vertical, actually scroll box, because I will need to scroll here in case we have many quests. And the scroll box, we're just gonna add some padding. So from the top it's gonna be 10, and from the bottom it's gonna be 20. Okay, so it's in here. Because I have an issue with the image, I'm not sure what exactly is going on there. I think it's actually something, I'm not sure why this is happening here, but it's just a thing we can, always check exactly what's going on there. But we can even use this one after maybe to proper format this. I'm gonna probably end up doing that, but let's refactor that later. All right, now we have the content. Sorry, the quests slot. Let's just go quest slot. Perfect. Now I'm gonna make sure it's a variable. I'm gonna compile and save. And if I press play, I have that. Actually, I don't have that because I'm not showing up, but I can just drag and drop here, right? And I can, on this example, all right, guys, I'm just gonna add a bunch of nonsense here just so we can see if this is scroll, it's working perfectly or not. So I have a button, I'm just gonna copy paste a couple of times, I'm gonna press and play, and I guess I need to do a couple more times because of the whole, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Is it gonna work here? Yes, you see, that's working perfectly. We even have a nice shadow there, which is fine. Now we just need to make sure we hooked up and create the widget. That is the quest. So now when we talk with this guy, John the farmer has found the apple. Alright, I think that's everything we'd like to cover for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you guys in the next one.